Hi guys, welcome to Kansikon Nugget channel. Today I'm going to briefly discuss with you how the circular flow diagram works. Here you see there are two entities on the two icons. One side has this, of course, a typical household icon with the door and the window. And then there is this farm icon with a smokestack, like a factory floor, some kind of thing. So this is household, this is farms or businesses. So out of these two entities, we have these four arrows to explain. And you see the couple of arrows are green, and they're intentionally made green to resemble, to show that they're monetary flows. Their dollar signs are associated with them. They're dollar flows. So here we see dollar flow is going from businesses to households. And on the bottom green arrow shows dollar flow is going from households into the farms or into the businesses. And the inner two arrows are showing one arrow is going from household to businesses and another arrow is going from businesses to households. So now let's see sequentially which arrow is most plausible that will happen the first. So here you see, if we look at it in a historical perspective, uh, most likely the households predate businesses in terms of their genesis, right? In terms of their emergence. So households were come into being first in the world, then gradually formal businesses appeared later. So of course we have to come up with one of the arrows that will originate from household and go into farms. So now question is, there are two arrows originated from households. One is this non-monetary flow that went from household to farms, and another is a monetary flow on the bottom green arrow, right? So which one logically has happened first, most likely? So if we think sequentially, we should be convinced that most likely that households were the ones who first supplied the farms with the basic factors of production, like the land that the businesses can use, and they can rent them and use them, labor that businesses can hire them, right? And then capital, that the piggy bank savings of household that businesses can borrow and invest in their capital equipments with. And then entrepreneurial services such as that of Steve Harvey, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, etc., the entrepreneurial people. So household first supplied businesses with their land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And when farms got them, in return they paid the monetary thing, right? Now we're explaining the upper green arrow on this diagram. So in return for the land services, farms would pay the rental income to the households. And then in return for the labor, the farms would pay wages and salaries that businesses will receive as wages. Households would receive as wages and salaries income. And then in return for using capital, they'll pay the interest income, right? So households will receive interest income from farms. And then of course for entrepreneurial services, households will receive profit income. And once the farms have obtained or hired those productive resources from the resource market, the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship, then what they are going to do with it? They are going to use them productively to make final goods and services, right? So now we are explaining the bottom two arrows. So now that farms have produced the final goods and services using the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship that they got from household, now households can come to the superstores, store, flea market, and other stores and fill up their buggies, their shopping carts, right? Now they can bring the stuff home, and of course, before they check out, they have to pay. Thus, the household's consumption expenditure goes in the money form into businesses as their revenues, right? And in return, households can now bring their uh, their shopping cart load of final goods and services, as is shown in this picture. So simply speaking, again, the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship are resource market ingredients or input of production that households supplies to farms, and in return they receive wages and salaries, rental income, interest income, and profit income. Those are the upper two arrows that happens in the resource market. And the bottom two arrows, those transactions happen in the product market, in the market of final goods and services, right? Where households make their consumption expenditure on the superstores and other stores and shopping malls, and they bring the stuff they want the home, and in return business they pay their consumption expenditure in favor of firms that enters into firm's account as business revenue. So hopefully that quick preview of circular flow diagram, along with the other mini videos that that help you in understanding this concept better. But if you have any additional questions, please feel free to drop me a line on the comment box or email me, and I'll respond to you accordingly. Thank you so much.